Alright, welcome to Chemilites. Today we are going to be looking at alcohols and we are going to be
Make
talking
sure to watch this
extensively
video to
on
the end so that you don't
how we are
miss
going
out
to
on any
identify
details.
each and every type of alcohols. So follow me. We have a lot of things we are going to talk about. So first of all, let's know what an alcohol means. An alcohol is what? A compound in which an OH group is attached to what? Is attached to a what? Aliphatic chain. Now, this is the structure of what? An alcohol. From the structure, we can get the definition. An OH group is what? Attached to what? An aliphatic chain. Now, that's the definition of alcohols. Now, this is the general formula for alcohol. I hope you can see it. CnH2n plus 1 OH. Or we can also use this CnH2n plus 2 O, which signifies what? Oxygen, right? So now, the shortest form in which you can write it is this, the alkyl group, which is ROH. As simple as that, okay, if you can't remember the rest. So now let's dive into what we have here. I've defined alcohols already. Now, what are we going to look for? The first thing here was that phenols. Now, it's a very simple thing. I know you've been looking at this compound here. This compound is called a phenol. It actually looks like an alcohol, but it's not an alcohol. It's an OH connected to what? A aromatic ring. The other one was what? An aliphatic ring. This one is what? An aromatic ring. So the two are not the same. So this is not an alcohol, okay? Make sure you note it. This guy here is not an alcohol. It's called what? Phenol. And this is the main phenol. We have other phenols and its derivatives. But this is phenol itself. We are going to talk extensively on phenol, like we are going to teach it as a topic. So stay tuned. Now, let's go on. Okay? So now, we've talked about this. Next thing we have to look is this guy. I know you've been wondering, is this a phenol or is it an alcohol? Look, how do we notice this? A phenol, from the definition I gave to you guys, an OH attached directly to what? An aromatic ring. If you notice from here, you will notice that the OH is not attached directly. It first meets a carbon, it's attached to a carbon before. Now, the carbon bearing the OH is the one connected or bonded towards the aromatic ring. So obviously, this guy is not what? A phenol. It's an aliphatic chain, from what we can see. But now, if we are to name this guy, though the parameters are not complete, this is just a structural representation. If we are to name this guy, what are we going to call it? It's not going to be called phenol. It's like how we have the alkyl group, like CH3. We call it what? Methyl, right? This guy is that how we're going to name it. We're going to name it what? What? Phenyl. You understand? We're going to name it phenyl something, but it's not complete. So I just want to give you the idea. So this guy is what? It is not a what? Phenol. It's not a phenol. But you can say it's a derivative, okay? But like, if we are going to call this guy is an aliphatic chain. So we are going to count it among alcohols. Note that. Okay? So now let's move forward to more details. Now we're going to look over. I know we have not talked about enols, but as I'm going to be explaining the types of alcohol, that is where we have to what? Meet or we understand better what enols are. So now we have what? Types of alcohols. They are divided into 3 of them. And this division, these types of alcohol are based on what? Are based on the bonds they bear. Is this single bond, double bond, or triple bond? Now, after dividing them into 3 based on their bonds, we now give them a name. For single bond, we call them what? Alkanols. For double bond, we call them alkenol. You know now, if you know alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes, we know why we gave this one AN and we gave this one EN, and the final one, which is triple bond, we gave it inols, alkynols. Okay, now let me give you an example. The examples are there in the board. This one is an example of what? An alkanol. It's a single bond throughout. This guy is called what? Ethanol. This guy here is called what? Ethanol. Now, if we look at this guy, he has double bond. What are we going to call it? We count the carbons. We are going to call it what? Ethanol. These are enol. Then, finally, this guy here, we are going to call him what? Ethanol. Okay, that's good. Now we've been talking about, we've been hearing enols. What are we talking about? It's simple. It's an alcohol bearing double bond, and obviously we've talked about it already here. This is what we know as enols. Though in its full name it's called alkenols, but short form you can just say enols. So that's it. I believe this question is answered. Though there are lots of things we are all to know about the enols, but for now I believe you've learned something about the enols. So now let's move straight forward into what? Classes. And now there is a way I broke it down so that it will be easier for you to understand the classification, so you don't get confused. This first one are the types. Based on what? Based on bond. Now if we move over to here, the classification of alkanols are based on what and what? There are two types of classification. The first one is based on the number of OH. I think this, there's not much to like explain here. Based on the number of OH in the compound. So now, if we have one OH in the compound, we are going to call it one monohydric alcohol. If we have two OH, we are going to call it dihydric alcohol. If we have three OH present, we are going to call it what? Trihydric. And finally, if we have four OH present, obviously it's going to be called polyhydric. Now, this compound can be referred to as what? When you are naming them, you can call this guy ols. You can call this dihydric diols. When you are, there is the final stuff like the suffix, you are going to call them what? Diols. Then this guy triols. This guy you can also call it polyols. Okay? So now, based on this, I would like to explain this guy first. Or never mind. See what we'll do. I'm going to give you examples of this guy first before we explain this other one below, based on position of the OH group. So now, based on this, what do we have? It's very, very simple. The first example we can look into in this one here, we can look into what? Let's see this, okay? All right. Are we paying attention? Okay, so now, from the look of things, we can see that this guy here is possessing what? Only one OH present. So this guy is a monohydric. This guy is called what? Ethanol. Okay? Ethanol. Why is it called ethanol? Because there are two carbon present, and two carbon represent what? Et. One carbon is met. 3 is prop. Abina. 4 is what? Boot. Okay? So now, let's look at another example. Now it's not going to be what? It's not going to be a mono anymore. It's going to be what? Dihydric. Abi? So now, if it's dihydric alcohol, what is going to happen? It's going to possess what? 2 OH what? 2 OH group. If it possesses 2 OH group, this guy now, this example I've shown you now is a what? Dihydric alcohol. How can we name this guy? It's very, very simple. We are going to name it what? To be what? Ethane what? 1,2 diol. Very, very simple. Okay. Now, if we are to look for the example of what? Trihydric alcohols. Also the same thing. The alcohol has to what? Possess how many OH? 3 OH. So now, let's look at this example. Make sure you carefully review everything we'll be looking into. Alright, okay guys. Now, this is an example of a trihydric alcohol. If we are to name this guy, how do we name him? Obviously, possess what? 3 OH. Now, so if we are to name it, it's very, very simple. First of all, we give it the parent name what? 1, 2, 3. It's going to be what? Propan, right? So we now call this guy propan 1, 2, 3. If I count from this side, it's the same. If I count from this side, it's the same. Propan 1, 2, 3 what? Triol. Propan 1, 2, 3 triol. This guy is also popularly called what? Glycerol. Okay? It's called what? Glycerol. Okay, note that it's called glycerol. Now,
Jesus.